The story begins by showing a man who is already surrounded by knights on the battlefield. The man's name is Cyan Vert. Then he remembers his father's message: live for the clan. The meaning of his father's words is that Cyan should not desire anything and must be by his brother's side like a shadow. Then one of the knight leaders approaches Cyan. The view is truly beautiful, a knight fighting the strongest commander on the continent alone. The man's brother is indeed extraordinary. You are truly interesting. The knight leader who spoke is named Boris. Boris seems to underestimate Cyan Vert, who already looks tired. By releasing his magic, Cyan asks Boris, "Who ordered you to do this?" "Is it the Emperor?" With raging anger, Cyan intends to attack Boris. "Disgusting black fog, you are indeed as rumored," Boris said while preparing his defense. Cyan releases a deadly aura as if possessed by a demon. "You are an assassin from Mist. Mist is an organization that is like fog for us, the Knights of Light. I will report to my superiors that I have eliminated a dirty creature affiliated with infidels." Cyan, who was annoyed by Boris's words, immediately stepped forward to attack him. "Just try it. Even if your mouth can still be used after this, I can guarantee your mouth won't leave a single tooth after I'm done dealing with you," Cyan said. "If you intend to use your secret power, you better give up. There is a 9th star magic barrier planted here." Cyan wants to get out of the battlefield as soon as possible and reveal the mastermind behind all this to his brother. Cyan wants to tear Boris apart because he is a hindrance to him. Then someone came and said enough to Cyan. Boris immediately saluted the person. How surprised Cyan was to see the man's figure. Cyan remembered his father's words again. "Live with the clan, your brother. Ashel is an extension of the clan. Ashel's success is Cyan Vert's success." Cyan was silent because of his confusion. The perpetrator he was looking for was his own brother, Cyan Vert. Ashel walked towards Cyan. Cyan, who was initially full of enthusiasm to eliminate his enemies, is now bowed down in exhaustion. "It seems my arrival has confused you," Ashel said. Cyan still can't believe what he's seeing. What? What does this mean?" "Cyan, you have done your duty well. For the clan, for the people, and for me." Cyan was made even more silent by Ashel's words. "That's why. I'm just trying to lift the burden you're carrying." Cyan still doesn't understand what's happening. "I don't understand. Have I made a mistake?" "Mistake? That unpleasant fog. You're nothing more than a murderer. I can't even call you human anymore." Cyan is still bowed down in exhaustion, his body still emitting red smoke. With an angry tone, Ashel said to Cyan, "You've been fooling us for quite a while. Can you still say you don't know your own sins?" "Murderer? My sins?" Cyan is very angry hearing Ashel's words. Cyan has helped Ashel in the succession battle in the Empire, helped to face the attack of the Demon King's troops, war to unite the continent. Cyan has helped Ashel achieve everything that Ashel has started. "Because serving you is the purpose of my life, but now you just throw me away? I've been working like a dog under your command for 20 years! Cyan, with the remaining energy he has, wants to attack Ashel. "Even if my whole body is destroyed, it doesn't matter. I will muster everything I have, if it means I can destroy you." The knights were surprised to see that Cyan still had that much residual strength. "He still has that much residual mana? Impossible! Someone like that is not human. How ridiculous!" The hero, trying to kill his own brother because he's scared. Don't you feel ashamed? Ashel is very angry hearing Ashel's words. Cyan launches an attack on Ashel, but it's parried by Ashel. Cyan hopes his attack can hit Ashel. "If I could stab his weak point so he couldn't regenerate." Cyan, with his quick movements, moves behind Ashel to attack him. But Cyan's attack doesn't hit Ashel because Ashel is protected by a shield made by Boris. And it's Ashel who successfully stabs Cyan with his sword. "I originally wanted to give you a painless death because you're my brother. But it turns out you showed your true nature. From the beginning, I knew what kind of creature you are, a demon. Luckily, from the beginning, I never trusted you." Cyan is very regretful. The person who always helped, the person he fought for, dared to do all this to him. Ashel then leaves and orders his subordinates to leave the battlefield. With his deep regret, why couldn't he finish off Ashel? Cyan's eyes slowly close. A faint voice is heard.
Master, young Master Cyan. Cyan wakes up from his sleep with a body full of sweat.
There's a woman who wakes Cyan up. How long will you sleep? Please wake up. You have to get ready. The woman is Emily. She's a maid in Cyan's family. Emily, why are you here? Emily is surprised by the reaction given by her master, Cyan. Suddenly, Cyan remembers. It's been almost 20 years since I last saw her. She's the same as the last time I saw her. Cyan also remembers the layout of the room. This place, I remember. This is the room I lived in as a child. The furniture arrangement is also the same. Wait, am I a child again? Sure enough, Cyan turns back into a child after waking up from sleep. Emily urges Cyan to get up from his bed immediately. You're procrastinating and don't want to train. Please get ready quickly. Cyan is confused. Training? What training? Cyan says with a confused expression. Cyan goes back to the past where he was in the Vert clan territory. Now I'm sure. I'm back to my family's Duke territory in the past. Is this an event where I see a flashback of my life before death? Turns out Cyan goes back 20 years ago. I remember 20 years ago, the founding year 985, March 1st, exactly 1 year before I entered the academy. Every year Cyan's family holds a duel training session. The owner of the duchy is Duke Vert, who is Cyan Vert's father. Duke Vert also attends the event. The event becomes important with the presence of this Duke Vert. The opponent faced by Cyan is Cyan Vert. He is the same age as Cyan and is Cyan's half-brother. In the training arena, there is also Cyan's mother named Margaret Erzith, the Duke's wife. With their presence, Cyan gets more attention than Cyan, even though Cyan and Cyan are still the youngest children. Cyan is a child who is not considered, and after being ridiculed in this fight, Cyan becomes a laughingstock for everyone. This duel becomes the reason my father stopped caring about me. But that's a story from 20 years ago, different from now. With Cyan going back to his past, he hopes to change the future starting from this fight. What is needed now is to win against Cyan. Emily whispers to just give in to Cyan. Emily doesn't want Cyan to be hurt by Cyan. Cyan just stays silent. Cyan feels the rapier is very heavy. Even though it's just a rapier, but it's so heavy. My strength is the same as when I was this age. This sensation is definitely not a dream, nor a flashback of my life. I've also never heard of magic that can create an illusion this strong. Am I really going back to the past? Cyan is covered in confusion whether this is real or just a dream. While Cyan is still thinking about the problem, Cyan starts to intimidate Cyan. You're not running away, are you? With this situation, Cyan feels he can change his future. He looks at the Duke, who will give the signal to start the fight. Cyan runs towards Cyan to attack him. Look where you're going, you loser! Cyan starts swinging his sword at Cyan. Cyan sees Cyan's movement is very slow. Is he a snail or what? With 1 foot movement, Cyan successfully avoids Cyan's attack. Cyan is shocked that Cyan easily dodges him. Cyan's sword swing only hits the floor. Dodging like a coward, huh? Cyan says. Cyan tries to attack Cyan again, but is immediately parried by Cyan so that Cyan's sword is thrown off. Not stopping there before Cyan can move, Cyan has already kicked Cyan's leg. So Cyan whines in pain. Cyan falls and can only hold his hurting leg. Cyan's mother, Margaret, is shocked to see it, while Duke just stays silent. Just need to place my sword on his neck and this duel is over. But that's still not enough. In the past, Cyan always oppressed me as entertainment for himself. The oppression also continued at the academy. Because of that, I have to really step on him, so he never messes with me again. Luin walks towards Cyan. In this life, I will carve my own path with my own hands. Cyan is very scared of Cyan. Cyan is declared lost in the fight. After the fight, the Duke orders Cyan to meet him. He even clears his schedule to meet with Cyan. Is the victory that impressive? Cyan says. When wanting to meet with the Duke, Cyan is also escorted by a high-class knight named Yulkin, who is affiliated with the Duke. As Cyan heads to the Duke's room, Cyan accidentally runs into Madame Margaret. Cyan casually asks Margaret about Cyan's condition. Is Kranz okay, madam? Margaret's face immediately shows an angry expression. How dare you ask that after beating up your own brother? You have no shame. Without paying attention to Margaret's words, Cyan walks back and says, "That's what a duel is. See you." Suddenly, Cyan is silent hearing Margaret's words. That's why an illegitimate child shouldn't be treated as a legitimate child. Child and mother are the same. You better become a beggar on the streets. How dare you fight? You should be grateful. She's crossed the line, Cyan says in his heart. Cyan looks at Margaret with a terrifying gaze. Would it be better if I just killed him? Should I kill him? Forget it. I know how to make him suffer more than anyone else. I'll make sure to do it slowly. Cyan wants Margaret and Kranz to suffer little by little. You know I'm going to enter the academy with Kranz, right? Cyan said that to Margaret with a threatening tone. What are you trying to say? I'm sure you want your son to graduate with his body still intact, don't you? Aren't you worried about him, Duchess? You? Margaret was very angry hearing Cyan's words. How dare you say something so impolite? Margaret was very angry and wanted to hit Cyan, but she was stopped by Ulkin, who protected Cyan from Margaret. I apologize, Duchess. The Duke has called for him. I think we can't delay any longer. We have to go now, Duchess. Ulkan and Cyan then left Margaret. Margaret's face showed an annoyed expression. Because the Duke's order is absolute, his knight has been ordered to protect me. I can't believe it. There's actually a knight who doesn't even give in to the Duchess. Impressive. Cyan was very impressed with the courage to oppose his own leader's wife. Cyan has arrived at the front door. Then he was allowed to enter. Cyan saluted the Duke. Cyan, the last time we met personally was about 15 years ago. Then Cyan was asked to sit by the Duke. Duke Regressed Vert is the ruler of the western part of the Ushif Empire. The world calls him Guardian of the Continent. The hero who has stopped the invasion of the demons for a long time, with the help of his extraordinary magic power and wisdom. The man shouldered the responsibility without anyone forcing him, until he finally died in the battle of the invasion of the Demon King's troops. What he wanted was peace throughout the continent. But my memory of him is different. He is someone who takes advantage of his free will. Cyan thinks the Duke has done something very unreasonable. Your eyes precisely followed the sword and avoided it. The Duke paid close attention to Cyan's movements during the fight. Cyan was surprised and took a deep breath. When Kranz attacked you, you stared straight at the path of the swinging sword and twisted your body to avoid it. The Duke wanted to know the secret that Cyan did. When did you learn how to use a sword? The Duke was curious where Cyan learned swordsmanship. As usual, he's sensitive. I can't say that I learned it. I practice every day alone. Cyan didn't state the fact that he was very diligent in practicing. From what I know, you've never had an interest in swordsmanship. Why do you hide such a great ability? The Duke wanted to know the reason why Cyan hid his ability. I really don't want to attract the attention of others. Even so, you really brought out all your abilities to defeat Kranz. But wasn't what you did afterwards unnecessary? The purpose of his question is clear enough. The Duke wants to find out how far Cyan's ability is. Cyan told the Duke because he wanted to prove his ability. The Duke asked to prove what? Cyan wants to prove that he is better than Kranz, even though they share the same blood, which is what Cyan concluded from the duel. Cyan fell silent for a moment after stating that. Amazing. A clear and concise answer that shows your calm demeanor. I didn't know you were that talented. The Duke was very pleased to hear Cyan's answer. The Duke also hopes that Cyan will be a great and reliable support for Ashel someday. Hearing about this, Cyan was very surprised, especially when Cyan was asked to help Ashel. It's still the same. The Duke is still obsessed with Ashel. Cyan is angry. Why can't he change his father's obsession? This is not a trophy. But I want to reward you for this duel. If you want something, just tell me. The Duke made an offer to Cyan. Then I'll just destroy all of Ashel's desires. Then Cyan wanted to be given permission to enter the battlefield. Hearing the news that Cyan wanted to enter the battlefield, Emily, Cyan's caretaker, was very surprised and worried. Yes, it's still uncertain. and Emily showed a very worried expression for her master. Emily imagines Cyan having to face the demons on the battlefield. The battlefield is in Velias, the western part of the Ushif Empire. This is the only place on the entire continent that is referred to as a battlefield. Even so, Lemea Valley, which can be called the front line, is a fierce battlefield where battles with demons have been taking place for hundreds of years. Because of that, my father, who has been stubbornly refusing it from the beginning, gave me a condition. Be worthy to go to Lemea Valley in 1 month. Cyan is still confused about the condition given by his father. I will increase my physical strength as much as possible during the given time. I'm still weaker compared to my peers, but Cyan is grateful because he still has the same fighting instinct as before he regressed, and a little magic that he feels in his body. If Cyan trains his body when it suits his abilities, Cyan will definitely be able to use it well. Cyan intends to start training from now on. Then a girl came and screamed. Cyan was very surprised by the girl who came. The one who came was Alice, who is Cyan's sister. Alice immediately grabbed the collar of Cyan's shirt. Emily greeted Alice but was ignored. Alice instead scolded Cyan. I heard you asked your father to send you to the battlefield? Cyan asked Alice to let him go because Cyan started to have trouble breathing. It seems that after defeating Kranz, your head started to have problems, said Alice. Alice invited Cyan to go to the roof. Then the scene moved to the roof of Cyan's house. Alice wants to fight against Cyan. If Cyan can defeat Alice, then Alice will approve Cyan to go to the battlefield, with the condition that Cyan must withstand Alice's attack for 3 minutes. Cyan asked Alice if it really had to go this far. I don't want to hear it, just answer my one question. Are you aiming for the family title? Is that why he's doing this? I'm not the least bit interested in that. Because he didn't answer Alice's question, Alice asked Cyan to draw his sword immediately. It's not even half a day since I dueled with Kranz. Cyan thinks today is really chaotic. Alice immediately ran towards Cyan to attack. Cyan was surprised to see Alice. Alice, who was already in front of Cyan and swung her sword, but Cyan easily parried it. Alice was surprised by the reflex that Cyan did. Do you really want to bring out all your abilities to fight against your younger brother who is 7 years younger than you? Alice took a stance again to attack Cyan. The rapier indeed has a very light dagger, but he was able to parry my long sword attack smoothly. Alice still can't believe how Cyan could parry her attack earlier. Was he just lucky earlier? You have better intuition than I thought, my little brother Cyan. Seeing Alice's smile, Cyan already understood what Alice would do next. Alice launched her attack again, but always managed to be parried by Cyan. Cyan started to struggle to withstand Alice's attack. Then with a very fast movement, Cyan counterattacked Alice and Cyan's sword was right in front of Alice's neck. Alice was very surprised by that. Alice didn't expect Cyan to be that strong at the age of 10. Cyan, who always withstands Alice's attacks, counterattacks Alice, his sword nearly reaching Alice's neck. But fortunately, Cyan diverts the direction of his swing. Both Alice and Cyan are thrown back. That was dangerous. If I hadn't changed the direction of my sword, it could have caused death. Most skills from Mist's swordsmanship are indeed designed to defeat the opponent as quickly as possible. It's hard to fight her without using skills because my strength is still lacking. Is 3 minutes still a long time? Cyan feels the time is very long, especially since his energy is starting to drain. I cover this deficiency by channeling mana into my sword, but I can't hold on any longer. Cyan's hand is starting to tremble holding the sword. Alice, not wanting to lose, starts to unleash her moves unconsciously. 6-star magic. Alice's sword emits a blue light. It's her move called Aqua Blade. Does she really want to finish me off? Alice's gaze is very different. Cyan has understood the meaning of Alice's gaze. Even though I can withstand her attack, I will still fall down. I just have to believe that this will work. Cyan, who jumps and intends to parry Alice's attack. Cyan hopes Ulkan comes out to help him stop Alice's attack. Sure enough, Ulkan suddenly appears right in the middle between Alice and Cyan. Then Ulkan catches Cyan while parrying Alice's attack. Miss Alice, you have been too excessive to an opponent who is younger than you. I wonder when he appeared. Cyan muttered in his heart. Then Alice regains consciousness. Alice apologizes to Cyan because Alice had lost consciousness. I just want to stop you from going to the battlefield. It seems I am too obsessed with that goal. Alice cries because she deeply regrets her actions. She is indeed like this. She always works hard on anything. My sister, she is an elite among elites who gets an S grade in all fields, at the Royal Academy where all talented children are gathered, whether talented in swordsmanship, magic, or other subjects. Besides, her beauty is very captivating. Because of that, she is called God's child. She has been trained in swordsmanship from a very young age. She is also referred to as the future guardian of the continent, along with Cyan Vert. But not long after joining the Knights of Light, she fell in battle. I miss you, Alice. This time I will definitely protect you, Cyan said. Hearing Cyan's words, Alice became confused. Thinking about it, aren't you the guardian knight of the Duke, but the Duke recently went to the battlefield? Alice asks about the reason for Ulkin's presence in the palace. I am entrusted by the Duke to protect the young master for a while. I also did not tell you this because this order should be a secret. I still feel his presence even after I left the Duke's room. Does he not show himself if I don't realize it? Cyan still wonders why Ulkin was assigned secretly. Then Cyan fell asleep in Alice's arms. I will carve my own path with my own hands, Cyan muttered in his sleep. Alice understands Cyan because Cyan is still a child. The next day, Alice returns to the academy. It seems she came home briefly just to see her father before her graduation day. Cyan mumbled while training his physique. I feel that I have to become stronger. So for the last 2 weeks, I have focused my training on physical exercise. But 10 is my limit. There has been no significant progress in these 2 weeks. Cyan feels that with the body he has, his strength is very limited. Cyan misses his old body, which was ideal, and needed a solution to overcome this weakness. Then Emily delivered Alice's goods that Cyan requested. But what is this? It smells very bad, Emily said while covering her nose. It is the Hellhound's blood that I requested. It is a rare item that can only be obtained in the Lamia Valley. But actually, the rumor circulating that the item is in the black market is true. The blood of the demonic beast is considered poisonous because it smells very bad, and also the burning sensation when consumed. But actually, this item will increase the mana and strength of those who consume it, but many people still consider the rumor to be untrue. Cyan knows the potion from his experience from his previous life. Because I am also the only person who can adapt to your cooking. I even still remember the taste when I first tried it. If I'm not mistaken, the dish was mushroom soup. My heart stopped for a split second when I first put it in my mouth. Compared to that soup, this potion is still better. Cyan devoured the potion eagerly. Cyan savored the pleasure of the potion. Then Cyan called Emily. Cyan wants to go outside and prove whether the potion works or not. Cyan heads to a hill not far from his house. It's been a long time since I've been to this place. I've been looking forward to this day for the last 2 weeks. Now is the moment when Ulkin is not here to do his regular report. Sometimes I do come here when I want to be alone. Then one day, Ashel received a divine revelation from the god of light, Lumendel. It is said there is an ancient temple hidden around this mountain. There, Cyan was seen looking for the hidden temple, then found a point where the flow of mana feels very strong. I don't really believe it, but there is a place where mana flows gather. Of course, the divine revelation has not appeared at this time. Cyan really wants to know it now and prove if it exists. Then Cyan hit the ground at that point with the magic power he had. Ashel, I bet you definitely can't imagine what I'm doing right now. Sure enough, Cyan found an underground room. He intended to go down to enter the room. This is different from the last time I was here. This place used to be an ancient temple serving the god of light, Lumendel, until all the history of this land was erased due to the god-demon war that occurred 300 years ago. Cyan is stepping down the stairs and he will soon reach the temple. Who would have thought this place is located in the mountains behind the castle? I can see it. Cyan is staring at a sword that emits light. The owner of this temple. 999 years before the founding era on August 12th, mankind finally managed to drive out the Demon King's army from Velias. The Demon King's army was much stronger than humans. but humans found an ancient relic called God's weaponry, which led them to victory. One of those relics, Duran Arx, is a holy sword blessed by the god of light, Lumendel. This sword is considered the main cause of human victory against demons, and I will face my sad death in the future because of this sword, which will be possessed by Cyan Vert. Maybe Duran Arx has something to do with my regression. Cyan tries to hold the sword, but no reaction occurs. Out of frustration, Cyan kicks the Duran Arx sword while walking to the other side. Cyan becomes gloomy and wants to quickly finish his business and leave the temple. After we walk through its light, there is a shadow that feels somewhat unearthly. Cyan finds a shadow, but it's red. At first glance, you might think it's the shadow of the sword, but that's impossible. It's not a shadow. Cyan keeps staring at the red shadow. Where there is light, there must also be darkness. It turns out the light shows a path to another room hidden by the altar of light. Cyan then heads to that room and opens the entrance. "Nice to meet you," Cyan says. He has found the sword he owns in the future. My sword, the demonic sword Karam. Cyan greets Karam, but the war does not respond to Cyan's greeting. Cyan is very happy to be able to use his sword and wants to immediately use it on the battlefield. Then there is a black shadow figure speaking. "Son, aren't you afraid? Do you know what it means to awaken me?" "Whatever. It means this sword is now mine," Cyan says with his innocent face. "Awakening a sleeping demonic sword. It's too late now to regret it, son. Your body is now mine." Then the shadow attacks Cyan, but Cyan easily grabs the demon's neck. "Weren't you this brave before?" The demon is surprised how Cyan can hold it. Cyan can hold the demon because Cyan is the owner of the sword. The demon tries to free itself from Cyan's grip. "Who are you? Are you the successor? Why do I feel Eru's aura from you?" "Yes, I am Eru's successor. Your master has returned. Bow down, demonic sword Karam. You're just a kid. I can't accept this." The demon doesn't accept being commanded by Cyan, who is still a child. He also attacks Cyan again. It seems words won't work because the ultimate goal of the demonic sword is to take over the body of its user. I have no other choice. The demon keeps attacking Cyan. Cyan already knows the demon's weakness. Cyan immediately says demonic sword control. The demon immediately falls. I only say this once. Why don't you just accept me as your owner while I'm still good? The demon is surprised. Why does Cyan know the mantra of the demon's weakness? The demon tries to attack Cyan again, but Cyan says his mantra and the demon falls again. Finally, the demon accepts Cyan as his master. "Since I have finished what I wanted to do here, should I go back? I've been gone too long." Cyan walks towards the exit of the temple. It's been a long time since I breathed fresh air," says the demonic sword that is also brought by Cyan to go out. The demonic sword asks for the name of its master, and also asks why Eru chose him to be the successor. Cyan then explains everything. Then Cyan looks at the sword that will be owned by Ashel in 20 years. Cyan cuts the handle of the sword. "What are you doing with it? Who knows? Maybe this will make the situation a little more interesting in the future."